I really appreciated everybody's response to my Leave a Little Sparkle shaker card. And I had a lot of you ask how I made it. So I thought I would give this a try and demonstrate for you how I use the Cricut Design Space to create a shaker card. So I've gone ahead and populated the design canvas with all of the elements that we're going to need to create this card. And first we're going to work with the dress. There's a lot of cute dresses in Cricut Design Space, but this was my favorite. I thought it was flirty and fun, and it really captured where I was going with this card. As you can see, there's several pieces to this image that we're not going to be needing that aren't in the finished card. So we're going to start by deleting the pieces that we're not going to use. So I'm going over here, and I've got my shift key down, and I am going to just simply delete most all of them, leaving only the dark orange and the black shadow layer of the dress. And now we're going to ungroup those two pieces, and selecting them both, we're going to now slice this. So we don't need the black one anymore. We can delete that. And what we have left, as you can see, is an outline of the dress and the orange layer, which is just the inside of the outline. So we'll put these together and take them over to the card, and we'll size how big we want this cutout to be on the card face. So let's say we're going to go with it about like that, and maybe turn it a little bit. I want room for my other embellishments that I'll be adding to the card. So I think that's about right. Okay, now we're going to be creating our cutout. Well, before we do that, I'll tell you how I did the sentiment on the card. This was the image that I used. It's called Leave a Little Sparkle Wherever You Go. Again, I took out some of the elements. I didn't want the stars because I knew I'd be using some stick-on gems. And I really didn't want a 5-line sentiment because, as you can see, it was a little too tall for my card. So I duplicated that a few times. And then working with the hide contour function, I just deleted and deleted and deleted until I had all of the pieces of the image in individual lines, just like that. So we can get rid of those now. We're done with that. And we can go ahead and move these things out of the way. And we'll go ahead and just group those and set them aside. We'll come back to those later. Okay, now we're going to work on creating the cutout for our shaker card. I think we can go ahead and move the black layer out of the way. That's just simulating the size of my card. So we can set that out of the way for now. In fact, I think we can just safely delete that for the time being. Right now, what I want to do is show you I've got two rectangles, one slightly larger than the other. And I want to go ahead and select both, and I want to align them. So I've chosen a line and now center. So now one is completely centered over the other. And now I want to take the smaller of the two and I want to arrange it in the back. Okay, so this is the top layer. This is the layer that is going to have the cutout, and it's going to be the top layer of your card when you're finished. So we need to slice a hole in this layer. And we're going to do that by selecting it as well as the orange layer of the dress. And we've got them both selected, as you can see over here in the layers panel. And now we're going to choose slice. And so this is our slice result, and we can go ahead and delete that. And as you can see right here, we've now got our top layer has the window in it. So we're going to hide that for the moment. and we're going to hide the black layer of the dress. Okay, now we have our smaller of the two rectangles here. And we have what we sliced out of the outline of the dress. And we're going to change that to draw. Okay, now this is going to help us lay down our foam tape later. It's going to act as a guide for where to put the foam tape to create the well to hold the sequins. So I'm going to now attach this drawing of the dress to the smallest of the two rectangles, and just like that. And you have a couple of options here. You can either go ahead and flatten that and do a print then cut, which is what my preference is, or you can just have your machine draw the dress on that layer when we get ready to cut the card. I like to go ahead and flatten it, and when I do, I like to change the color of the drawing to the very lightest shade that I can. So I'm going to use this gemstone blue, so you can just barely see it. And I do that for a couple reasons. One is I don't want any black to be showing through my window. If I don't get everything lined up perfectly, it makes it a little bit more opaque. Also, I just don't like wasting all my black ink, so I'm going to go ahead and take this drawing and this layer, and I am going to flatten it. Okay? All right, so we're done with that. We can hide it for now. Actually, let's just hide it for the time being. Now we're going to go ahead and reveal the dress that has the cutout. As you can see, we've got our little window here. We've got a dress cut out. And now we're going to reveal the black outline of the dress, which is in the back, so we need to bring it forward to the front. Okay? So this part is really optional. If you wanted to make the card with just the cutout, that's perfectly fine. But I really, really like this extra step of having this black outline around the cutout because it just makes the card pop in my view. So I'm going to take my sentiment now, and I'm going to put it over here where I decided I wanted it on my card. And there we go. And I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to flatten it. And that's what we need to do in Cricut Design Space. So we would go ahead and make the card at this point. We've got these two pieces, and then we'll do some further demonstration when we get done cutting those. So now that you've cut both of the sections of your card, it's time to assemble the card. And the first thing you're going to need to do is to add some strips of foam tape around the drawn dress. Now I think it's probably making sense why we have this layer. It's that drawing is going to help you guide, is going to be the guide to help you place the foam tape in the right position on the card so that none of it shows through the window. Just as you add the foam tape, just be sure that you don't cross over that drawn line. I always add foam tape around the edges of the card too because it just gives the card more stability. Next, it's time to add your sequins inside the well that you've created with the foam tape. I guess a true shaker card has fewer sequins in it, and then you can shake the card and the sequins will move around. And that's definitely an option. I really like to pack them tight. I just like the way it looks, the way it fills the window and and serves to make up the whole dress. So I'm pretty generous with my sequins. These sequins are pink and white. I got them from eyeletoutlet.com. And the next thing I'll need to do here is add the acetate to the back of the cutout layer. I use my ATG to apply that. Just be sure that you don't let any of the adhesive get too far over so that it's coming through the window. Make sure it stays out to the edges. And I can cut this acetate. I get this from the office supply store, but I believe they have it at craft stores, and I think Cricut even carries some. I don't know if they have it in stock at this time, but I have seen a Cricut brand of acetate. But the Cricut maker can cut the acetate. I usually make 2 passes with the blade to cut it, but I don't always cut it with it. If I just use my guillotine paper cutter, it cuts it just fine. Okay, so now we're ready to add any further embellishments to the card before we finish assembling it. And I've used swirl bling and purse and shoe brads from Eyelet Outlet. And I'll put a link in the comments to Eyelet Outlet so you can find these cute little brads. Once you have your embellishments added to the face of the card, it's time to peel off the backer from the foam tape, and you'll position this layer right over top of the sequined foam tape layer, and then adhere to your card base, and you're done. Thanks so much for stopping in and watching my video.